the day the spin cycle spoke. The air was heavy with the scent of detergent and warm cotton as I pulled into the parking lot of Sunny Hills Laundromat. It was a crisp Saturday morning in Maple Grove, a quiet suburb of Columbus, Ohio, where the world still felt predictable. My son, Ethan, 11 years old and drowning in his oversized Ohio State hoodie, sat beside me, clutching a laundry bag stuffed with our week's worth of clothes. His quiet hum of a pop song filled the truck cab, a small comfort in our weekly ritual. Ethan was a gentle kid, the kind who apologized to chairs when he bumped into them. This laundromat, with its chipped yellow walls and rows of humming machines, was our sanctuary, a place where nothing ever happened. Until it did. The bell above the door chimed as we stepped inside. The familiar warmth of the place wrapped around us like an old quilt. Mrs. Carter, the elderly cashier, gave us a nod from behind her crossword puzzle. A young couple folded sheets in the corner, their toddler stacking plastic cups nearby. Ethan headed straight for our usual washer, number 12, and began sorting our clothes with the precision of a librarian, jeans in one pile, t-shirts in another. I grabbed a Coke from the vending machine and leaned against the counter, letting the morning unfold. Then the door slammed open, shattering the calm. A woman's voice sliced through the hum of the dryers. "This is unacceptable. Do you call this clean?" It was Lorraine Baxter, the terror of our neighborhood's homeowners association. Lorraine wasn't just a regular at the laundromat. She was a storm in pearls, a self-appointed queen who fined people for untrimmed hedges and banned porch flags that didn't match her aesthetic. Her blonde hair was sprayed into submission, her navy blazer crisp as a general's uniform. She held a beige cashmere sweater aloft like it was evidence in a murder trial, pointing at a faint stain on the sleeve. Ethan glanced up, his hands pausing over a pile of socks. "Dad," he whispered, shrinking into his hoodie. "Just keep sorting," I murmured. But my stomach tightened. Lorraine had a reputation last month. She'd screamed at a teenager for parking a bike on the grass. The manager, a lanky kid named Tyler, stammered an apology, but Lorraine waved it off. "I don't pay for incompetence," she snapped, her voice loud enough to make the toddler in the corner drop his cups. She strutted across the linoleum, her heels clicking like gunfire. The air in the room thickened, every eye on her but too afraid to meet her gaze. Ethan accidentally knocked a sock onto the floor, near a rack where Lorraine's sweater hung. He bent to pick it up, careful not to touch anything else. But Lorraine's eyes locked onto him like a hawk. "You?" she barked, storming over. "Did you just touch my sweater?" Ethan froze, his face pale. "No, ma'am, I didn't," he started, but she cut him off. "Don't lie to me, you little pest. Kids like you ruin everything." Her words hit like a slap, and I felt my pulse hammer in my chest. "Kids like you." The phrase wasn't just cruel, it was loaded, a jab at Ethan's quiet nature, his second-hand clothes, our modest life. I stood, the Coke condensing in my grip. "Leave him alone," I said, my voice low but firm. Lorraine spun toward me, her lips curling. "Are you his father? Maybe teach him to respect other people's property." Ethan took a step back, his hands trembling. I moved between them, my voice steady but boiling underneath. "He didn't touch your sweater. Back off." For a moment, she faltered, unaccustomed to defiance. Then her hand shot out, grabbing Ethan's hoodie. Before I could react, she yanked him forward and slammed his face into the glass door of a dryer. The crack of bone against metal silenced the room. Ethan crumpled to the floor, blood streaming from his nose, staining his hoodie. He didn't cry, just curled into himself, clutching his face. Lorraine stood over him, unapologetic. "That's what happens when you disrespect me," she said, brushing her hands as if dusting off flour. Tom stopped. The Coke can hit the floor, soda pooling beside Ethan's spilled laundry. My vision narrowed to Lorraine's smug face, her pearl earrings glinting under the fluorescent lights. "You hurt my son," I said, my voice shaking with a rage I'd never felt before. She rolled her eyes. "He'll live. Unlike my sweater, which your brat probably ruined." That was it. I didn't decide to act, my body moved on its own. I grabbed her wrist, hard enough to make her gasp. The room exhaled collectively. "Let go," she hissed, yanking her arm. I didn't. "You slammed my kid's head into a machine," I said, each word a blade. "And you think I'm just going to let that go?" She sneered. "He's fine. Kids like him are always causing trouble." Wrong answer. I released her wrist, only to grab her blazer and shove her backward. She stumbled into a folding table, knocking over a basket of towels. "Assault," she shrieked. "Call the police." I turned to the counter, where an iron sat steaming, its red light glowing like a warning. I grabbed it, the handle warm in my palm. Lorraine's eyes widened. "You wouldn't dare," she said, but her voice cracked. I stepped closer, iron in hand. "You like teaching kids lessons? Let's see how you learn." She backed away, but I was faster. I grabbed her shoulder, pinned her against the folding table, and tilted the iron toward her face. Steam hissed, and her scream shattered the silence as the heat grazed her cheek. Her makeup melted, her skin reddening instantly. I didn't press the iron down, just let the steam do the talking. "This is a place for families," I roared, "not for bullies like you." She collapsed to the floor, sobbing, her perfect facade crumbling. But I wasn't done. Behind me, the dryer Ethan had been slammed into stood open, its steel drum gleaming. The idea hit me like a spark. "You like throwing people into machines?" I said, grabbing her arm. "Let's see how you like it." She screamed, clawing at me, but I dragged her across the floor and shoved her into the dryer. Her heels kicked wildly as I slammed the door shut. The room gasped. I pressed the green start button. The drum began to spin. No heat, just motion. Clunk. Thump. Lorraine's screams turned to wails as her body tumbled inside, her designer shoes banging against the steel. One heel flew out, landing at my feet. "Let me out," she begged, but I stood there, calm, her panic washing over me like justice. "You hurt my son," I shouted over the noise. "Now you know what it feels like to be powerless." After one cycle, I stopped the machine. Lorraine tumbled out, gasping, her blazer twisted, her hair a tangled mess. She lay on the tile, defeated, her dignity stripped away. The room was silent, but phones were up, recording every